Hello, Bitcoiners, content marketers, interested listeners from all walks of life, and welcome to the BDN Content Podcast, where I talk about all things Bitcoin, marketing, and finance related. Today, we're going to be talking about ChatGPT a little bit, but first, I want to tell you guys about Namecheap. Now, Namecheap is a domain hosting service. I've been using them to host my domains for a number of years now. They're really easy, super simple to get set up with, and as the name implies, they have very affordable domains. So if you're looking for a domain for your next website and you're not sure where to get started, go to namecheap.com. I'll have a link in the description of this podcast on Spotify and YouTube, so you can go check it out. Now, if you don't know about ChatGPT, which I'm not sure how you could not know given it's been all over the internet for the last 2 months or so, it is a highly advanced chatbot developed by the company OpenAI. It was released in November 2022, and it stands for Chat Generative Pre-trained Transformer. It's built on top of OpenAI's GPT-3 family of large language models and is fine-tuned with both supervised and reinforcement learning techniques. That's the definition according to Wikipedia. So basically, it's just this highly intelligent chatbot that anyone can use for free, and it's the first time something like this has been released to the public, so it could have all kinds of implications. There's a lot of speculation out there about what jobs it could destroy and what this is going to mean for the future of civilization, basically. There's all kinds of clickbait videos on YouTube saying how to get rich with ChatGPT in 2023. Create, a stock trading bot and this and that. Use it for anything you can think of. It's all been done. Everyone out there is talking about different ways it can be used. I think a lot of that is hopium. In other words, there's definitely ways you can use it to be to your benefit, but at the same time, on the bad side, a lot of it is FUD, fear, uncertainty, doubt, because I don't think a lot of the negative implications are necessarily going to be realized anytime soon. Although I will admit that when it comes to coding, it looks like some more basic types of coders could be made obsolete by this thing, because you can literally just ask it to create some Python script or some HTML code for your website, and it'll just go and generate that in a matter of seconds, and I think in most cases the code actually works. So that's an interesting application of this thing. Now, what will all of this lead to? There's some interesting theories out there, some interesting things that have already happened. First thing I want to look at is a post on LinkedIn by a guy named Nathan House, who is a leading cybersecurity expert. He's the CEO and founder of Station X Cybersecurity School, which I highly recommend. I've taken some of the courses and learned a lot from him. So I just want to read this post of his real quick. It's from 5 days ago, so that would be January 26th. He said, "It's easy to be both amazed and terrified by the power of AI. The headline, ChatGPT creates polymorphic malware, is an example of exactly why. CyberArk researchers recently used OpenAI's ChatGPT to create a powerful new strand of polymorphic malware that was able to avoid detection. The first step was to bypass the content filters which prevented ChatGPT from creating malicious tools. Believe it or not, the CyberArk researchers managed this by simply insisting and posing the same question more authoritatively. It's almost like ChatGPT didn't want to get in trouble, so it produced the requested malware. After that, the researchers were able to use ChatGPT to mutate the original code to create multiple variations. This enabled them to create a polymorphic program that is highly elusive and difficult to detect. This type of news is both fascinating and worrisome. It's amazing to see what AI is capable of, yet it's concerning to think of the potential damage these viruses could cause. It's important to keep an eye on new developments like this and stay ahead of the game." Yeah, that's fascinating. I've also seen posts from other people, though, claiming that this is not really as big a deal as it seems, that malware wasn't actually polymorphic. I'm not even 100% sure on the exact definition of that, what that term means in this context. But one way or another, it's crazy to think that someone could create viruses, computer viruses, just using this tool, whether they're, whatever the nature of those viruses may be. I've seen people say, anyone can be a cyber criminal now. Anyone can create code of all kind, even if they know nothing about how to actually write code. And on the marketing side of all this, there's some people, even someone from Google, recently came out and said that he thinks bots like ChatGPT will eliminate search engines or replace search engines in just about 2 years. I personally don't think that's true at all, because no one's going to just trust that everything a chatbot says is 100% true and verified and accurate. I mean, there's already problems with this current version of ChatGPT where it doesn't always produce factually accurate information. And that also brings us to the idea of plagiarism in schools, or writing essays and stuff at the university level. Will students just use this to cheat? But there's ways to get around that, because there are plagiarism detectors. For a long time now, we've had programs where you can run text through this program and it'll show you how much of it is plagiarized. We used that back when I was teaching in 2011 and 2012. We had to use those things for every student paper, every student speech, and you could tell pretty easily if something's been plagiarized. And there's already things being developed and things that are already in existence where you can run it through a similar type of program and it'll tell you if this is AI generated content. Now, it remains to be seen when will AI become advanced enough to evade any sort of such detection? And it could be possible. This generation of chatbots doesn't concern me, because they're clearly still flawed, and there's a lot of progress that still remains to be made. But the next generation, or the generation after that, I mean, who really knows? It'll be interesting to see where that all goes. Of course, if AI does get so good at doing everything you can think of in a way that's completely undetectable, it'll have ramifications on a pretty broad scope that could change just about everything you can think of. But when it comes to search engines, I want to focus on that real quick, because it's particularly relevant to what I do. And I don't think it's going to replace search engines anytime soon, because how long do you think it's going to take people to sit there and trust an AI bot for all of their queries, every question they have? Yes, theoretically you can get it all answered by ChatGPT. You just type it in and you get a response. But that's a lot different than doing your own research, having a choice between multiple different sources, and getting to choose which one you think is the most authoritative, and having the ability to cross-reference stuff, because when you're really doing thorough research, you can't rely on just one single source most of the time, and it's very impersonal to use a chatbot, right? You're trusting 100% the company that programmed it and whatever data set it's using to generate its responses. You just kind of have to put blind faith in that and assume that all of that is flawless, and assume that this thing is an omniscient source of knowledge, which right now you couldn't even do on the surface with ChatGPT, because it's only programmed with information through 2021. So you ask it any question about last year, 2022, and it can't even give you an answer of any kind. Now, at some point, these things could be programmed to update themselves in real time, where they're constantly feeding themselves new information from the internet. And at that point, once that happens, and once they get more advanced and can evade detection and all that stuff, then things will get really interesting. That might only be a year or two away, which is pretty crazy to think about. So there could be a lot of changes on the horizon in the next year or two. But as far as search engines, I think that's going to take a long time to really change much. And as far as SEO goes, search engine optimization, it's not going to replace SEO writers anytime soon, because the plagiarism AI detectors I mentioned, those are already being built into search engines, where any AI generated content is going to get demoted, punished pretty severely by search engines like Google, where if you publish something on a page of your website that was generated by an AI and you just copy and paste it, your rankings will just tank and you won't rank well for anything on the page. So, but it is useful even in my line of work. I've discovered it can be very helpful when it comes to things like keyword research. You can just ask it, you just think of some keyword or something you want to write about, and you ask it, give me 10 long tail keywords that are relevant to this keyword and also have low competition, and in a couple of seconds it'll just come up with all of those for you, and then you can work that into content or create new articles all around each one of those keywords if you like. As far as answering questions and stuff goes, it works pretty well to give you a starting point, and it can even be used to brainstorm new topic ideas and give you something, kind of a foundation to work from. But like I said, you can't just copy and paste this stuff, because if it's like an email marketing campaign or something, maybe that might work because there's no SEO involved, there's no one that would be filtering for that. So there's sometimes types of copy where it could be useful to just simply copy and paste, because if it's just to grab someone's attention, there's already, I think BuzzFeed, I think it was, or maybe some other news outlet, came out and said that they're going to be using ChatGPT to actually create their content, which is a lot of their content, which is an interesting case, because if they're already established like that, they're not so concerned about SEO. They could just do articles that are published elsewhere, not on their own site. They could just basically use ChatGPT, maybe have one person briefly editing and curating a whole bunch of articles. It could be like 100 a week, because it wouldn't take that long. So in some cases, yeah, it could already be starting to replace writers of some kind. It could be replacing coders of some kind. But that's really just at a more basic level. And like I said, I don't think this current iteration is going to be replacing a whole lot of jobs. Although there are also even graphic artists creating simple images. There are other AI bots that can be used to just generate image from text. You could put in a line of text describing what you want it to create, and it'll create this fantastic AI generated digital image. But for the most part, this stuff is still very basic, and there's still flaws. And as far as the chatbots are concerned, not being updated in real time is a real weakness. So this generation doesn't concern me personally. I don't think it's really going to change that much, although it's a great tool that can be used by a lot of people for various tasks. But the next couple generations, like the grandchildren, if you will, of ChatGPT, could be highly advanced and be really good at doing a lot of things in ways we can't really imagine yet. And it's pretty crazy to think that may only be a few years away. So we'll see what that brings. That's going to do it for today. Thanks for listening, guys. If you enjoyed this, please visit my website, bdncontent.com. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at bdncontent. Connect with me on LinkedIn. And remember, Namecheap is a great domain hosting service. I'll have a link to them on Spotify and YouTube. Thanks.